What's going on, everybody? This is Jordan with Conquer Trading and Investing. Great morning to everyone, wherever you are in the world today. Good evening, good afternoon. Glad you're here together. Looking forward to this Friday session with y'all. Before we get started today, because I am working remote, can I just get a quick, we're all good on the sound check. Can you guys hear me clearly before we get going today? There we go. Awesome. Three sisters, stimulus, fronting the market. I heard an update on stimulus yesterday. I heard that I shared it in yesterday's afternoon update. And today I'm hearing talks that it's clear the Senate leader is saying that they're only gonna vote on the $500 million stimulus before the end of the year. Markets are holding up well. Markets are holding up really well. We're just gonna follow what's going on price alone. A lot of fun stuff to look at today for myself, and I'm looking forward to getting back into it. We see here the indexes are all trading up on the day. We're going to get into them in just a moment. We're going to look at across the board over there. I want to focus in on the dollar for sure. A couple of people have brought my attention to a certain trend line that is very important. I want to look at that. And also this morning we have retail sales, which came in way better than expected. And you could see since then so far, the dollar has been rallying. What do I use for news? I use a couple of things. Excuse me. I use three things. First of all, I use four things. I use Twitter, first of all. Second, I'm using Zero Hedge. I'm also using Forex Live, for example, especially if like all of a sudden price starts moving out of the ordinary really quick. I want to know what just happened, who tweeted what. Go to Forex Live. I'll find out right away. And I also use, I think that's about it. I would say sometimes Forex Factory, but just for the calendar. All right, Xavier, there's details below in the description. I'm going to go ahead and first start over here. I'm going to start with this, okay? Working remote. This is what we got. Boom, boom, boom. I'm just going to turn off these notifications, and then there we go. All right, here we go. I'm going to start. Oh, by the way, I'll start with this. This is some news that we want to talk about this morning. The exchange OKEX out of China. I believe they work out of Malta, Chinese ownership. The CEO was taken into custody by Chinese authorities. They've suspended withdrawals and Bitcoin off 3%, I believe, at the height off of that. This has 2.5%. You could see over here, I wrote first BitMEX, now OKE, Bitcoin brushing it all off. If it weren't the US and China, you would think it was a coordinated attack against Bitcoin. Interesting and of note, we'll look at the chart in just a minute. This is the trend line I want to show you. I'm going to come back to that in 1 second. I want to focus in on this. You could see the retail sales were better than expected. Peter Schiff had a nice tweet this morning talking about the fact that first of all, the U.S. deficit obviously is going to be much higher with these type of numbers coming in, and how much longer is the rest of the world going to let the U.S. Federal Reserve print money why everyone stays home in quarantine buying goods. Forex Live has here's Forex Live. You asked what kind of news we look at over here. This headline over here was of interest to me. It says that the pound is whippy as Johnson calls for UK citizens to prepare for a no-deal Greek exit. I don't know if he's bluffing anymore or not, to be honest. That's why we stay on the sidelines here on the pound, or at least I do. And then we over here, EU, saying that they're going to go to London next week to intensify negotiations. Next week could be very volatile. I want to focus in on this today before we get into the charts, before we start looking at the indexes. Yeah, Bitcoin is looking great, consolidating very well. Miguel, consolidating very well. I want to look at this trend line over here, this outer trend line over here. I'm going to show it on my chart. The only reason because Stefan and Justin over here have both over the past week brought it to my attention multiple times. Stefan even over up here when we last tested it. Sorry, down over here. I want to look at it with y'all, and we'll see what we think. All right, let's do that right now. Let me switch back over. So, by the way, definitely missed you all yesterday while we were traveling. Great to be back here. He's bluffing. No deal is not sustainable. I don't know. I think it would be better for the UK overall. So, Ben, if Trump loses, will he go along with the $1.8 trillion stimulus? We all know Nancy is politicizing it, but only ready after the election. So my thoughts, but we try to keep this a non-political place, 100%, but we need to talk about certain events that are affecting the market and how they could affect the market. So, right, so we have one side, Nancy's looking for $2.3 trillion of stimulus. The other side, they started at $500 million. They raised that number, first to 1.5 trillion, and then Nancy came down to 2.2 trillion. And then Trump said, okay, we're going to end negotiations because there's no good faith going on, meaning that other Nancy didn't want a deal, right? She was trying to cause as much damage going into the re-election, trying to get, the presidency for Biden. And then Trump, said, okay, let's get back to the table. Let's go bigger. He said $1.8 trillion. He said that he'll get the votes. And Nancy's like, no. So if Trump loses, what will happen? It depends who wins the Senate. It depends completely on who wins the Senate. And that's going to decide what happens and what this looks like. It's doubtful. I mean, is it possible that you get a blue wave? I have a nice diagram at home, by the way, that I'll be sharing you with next week, which shows the different stimulus projections depending on who wins the presidency and who wins the House. That's what it's dependent on. It looks that if the Republicans get the presidency and the Republicans get the Senate, that we're going to see a $1.5 trillion stimulus. This is base case. That will be done right away, and that will be a one and done until they do it again when things start falling apart. But it'll be a one and done. And then if we get Biden wins the presidency and the Democrats also win the Senate, it looks like immediately there'll be a small package passed, right? Immediately, and then probably whether it's January or right around there, really soon, there'll be a really major package passed. That's what they're all saying. You can't trust any of them. On either side, you cannot trust any of them. All right, so here we go. So I want to look at the DXY today first because it's Friday. We get to do this kind of stuff. right? We get to look at we get to look at that. We get to look at this type of stuff, and then we'll get into the indexes and we'll follow our normal flow. But we get to look at things we don't normally do. I want to focus in on that trend line that we're going to add in, or that's been suggested to me. I want to show you to see what we think of it. First, let's go off of where I left you all. That was after yesterday's update, and I was focusing on this channel over here. Actually, price was at the very top of that channel over here, and we've since come in and we've tested the lower bound of that channel, right? So is this little bit of channel relevant in our world right now? Well, I mean, I think so. This is, we're swing traders. We're focused on the 8 hour, what's going on in front of us. And right now, this remains relevant. So we're just going to keep focusing on that, right? And what else does this mean to me? Well, you could see that a couple of things happened. This outer trend line that we had over there, right? Price came into and held that. Price held this horizontal resistance. Let me make that a little bit brighter just so I could see. I don't know if you could see my today's game plan pen. Let me just make that a little brighter, right? That held. And the horizontal support over there at 93.50, and also the bottom trend line support over here all held. We had 3 areas of confluence, and price, magically, as the retail numbers came out this morning, better than expected, it has held there so far. The initial reaction has been a bounce, right? So what's our game plan now? Well, a couple of things. The dollar's been tough. How long is the dollar going to consolidate for? We don't know. Right? FX, by the way, beautiful week, not on the dollar. A couple of people. Heath definitely rode that short on the Euro US dollar. Beautiful trade. But the cross pairs have been phenomenal. Roman, I have a trend line on the DXY starting the high of March. That's exactly what we're going to look at 1 second. There you go, Roman. So Roman's the third. Stefan, Justin, Roman, all pointing this out to me. We're going to go and get into that in 1 second, Roman, for sure. I'm going to add that in. I think we got to add it in. I just wanted to focus on where we were at, right, before we got to that. So a breakdown, by the way, so we got the good retail numbers, the bounce, a breakdown of this trend line, a breakdown of this consolidation, because that's a clear channel, right? That would be it's a bearish pattern if we break down to the downside. No doubt about it. So we're watching over there now that 93.50, which is coinciding with that break right there, a breakdown below there. That should really be a bearish event. Okay? I have to say the bounce here looks kind of weak. It looks kind of weak. Now we have some big risk events ahead of us, including what's going on over with the EU and the UK, right? So we're hearing now the EU is sending a special envoy and they're looking to intensify negotiations, but that's a risk event to the markets. We also have just a couple of weeks away, the US elections, huge risk event. So is this what the dollar's mildly been on? I think so. I think it's all noise. Signal is more stimulus is coming. That's going to help weaken the dollar. All right, let's pull back now a second, go to the daily time frame. Let's talk about what Roman has just brought to our attention, right? What Justin and Stefan have. And they're connecting that March high over here, right? They're going to go ahead and just highlight this trend line that I drew in this morning, matching the one that Justin sent to me, right? I'm going to make that really bright. And then the next touch is over here in May 20th. Let me just confirm that's what Roman's saying. Hold on 1 second. Yeah, March, high in March to May 15th, right? So I'm working on a smaller machine here. Yeah, that's May 15th. All right, this is the one everyone is looking at over here. March high, May 15th. You see these two touches, and then this is what I want to focus in on. I remember also when Stefan was telling me about that line over there. This was September 25th. You had another touch over there. Do I need to fix this trajectory of this line a little bit? Maybe, right? Let me just pull that one down 1 second. Nah, that's good enough, right? So I'm going to zoom in now to the 8 hour. I want to show you why that line is there. And then I want to show you over here in September where that line came into play. And then again today, right? So is that something that we should be watching over here? I mean, how could I not? When I first started this community 1 year ago, I remember it used to be 30 of us every day for months. 30 of us every day for months. And one of the main reasons I started this was I figured that the more insight I share from my 20 years of experience, the more that I help build other people up, then iron sharpens iron. That the better traders they became, then I'd have this like feedback loop, helping myself and my career as well. And this is a great example of that. It's very exciting for me. Really, really like that. So I'm grateful for that. So what else do I want to say about this line that's here right now, right? Like, how does that come into play? So a breakout of that line, right? Because you could see that we had a few different touches. We had the March high, then the May 15th touch, and then the September 25th touch, and then over here. So a breakout over there, that's a big event. Now we still at the same time right now have that 94 horizontal resistance, and we still like you got to be a little flexible. You can't be so anal when it comes to trading. You have to be flexible. If you get a breakout of that line over here, we have this 94 horizontal resistance, and we still have this whole area of resistance. So if we got the breakout right here, right now, we still got to prove ourselves. All right, no problem. Now, if the break of this line comes lower, right, then at that point, the lower that breaks, the more relevant the breakout of that line is, and the less relevant 94 becomes. Okay, so right now, though, in our world today, meaning today, tomorrow, the next session, we're watching this area, right? We got a lot of resistance right there. We were rejected again last night. It's a useful line. We gotta keep it in there. I have this other line over there. Hold on one second. I want to see what that is and why it's there. I think this is the Brad line. Let me just break this one for 1 second just to see what's going on over there. So that's the Brad line over there, by the way. And you all don't, if he resends me the chart, I'll show you. This line over here, if you clone it, is relevant from here. It's the same line right here. It's the same line right here. And it plays again over there and there. So that's why I have it light on my chart, because you could see that there's even more resistance right up there. So there's a lot. I think this move on the dollar doesn't have any legs, but we got to as long as it's taken off, we got to follow it. All right. So you have to be very important of it. You have to come to some type of assumptions, but you have to be comfortable with that. They're only assumptions to guide your risk management. You have to let the market do what the market's doing. You have to let the markets do what the market's doing, and you have to be comfortable and flexible enough to follow that market. So like, I have an opinion right now that this dollar move over here doesn't have legs. But if we get these breakouts of these areas over here, I got to follow the market. I can't, doesn't matter what I think, right? Same thing happened back over here when we broke down over here. I was very bullish on the dollar, very bullish. That was my assumption. But once we broke down over there, I got very bearish on the dollar. And similar thing taking place over here. I'm very, very, well, I'm not very bearish. I'm neutral with a bearish tint. But if we break over here, well, anyway, that's how we started off this Friday session. Definitely, go ahead and help this channel out. Smash the like button. Just want to let you know that you all are definitely very important to me. We're here. We were traveling yesterday. Made sure we got online last night to keep everyone updated, and again this morning. So David, I want to, because it's Friday. It's Friday. So, all right, David, this is a great question by David. Before we get into the indexes, before we get into Bitcoin, Anthony, big thumbs up. Thank you. I want to talk about that really quick. It's an important question. And, he's bullish on Bitcoin. Do I think that the interest from central banks on developing a digital money is a threat for Bitcoin? So the short answer of that is no. And why is it no? Is because all these central bank digital currencies, they're fiat. They're just digital fiat, meaning that they're centralized. They could expand their monetary supply with the click of a button. It's the opposite of Bitcoin, which is a decentralized, scarce asset. So they're not competitors in one way, form, or another. Now, you always have to be watching out for your enemy, right? And the central banks are one of the greatest enemies to all of mankind, right? One of the greatest evils on earth. Of course, we need to know what their plan is, what they're doing, and whether or not it is a threat to Bitcoin. Now, is it possible that government action against Bitcoin could be a threat? Yes, there's no question about it. Any government could make Bitcoin illegal for their citizens to hold. The US can make it illegal for self-custody of Bitcoin. Will any of these things stop Bitcoin? Absolutely not. It's impossible. Will any of these things inhibit Bitcoin's growth for a period of time? Of course they can. Does it look like the US is going ahead and doing this? It does not look like they're going to do this. Are you seeing, in Wyoming, we just have a lot of favorable banking laws towards digital currencies, which includes Bitcoin. We're seeing now that banks are allowed to hold cryptocurrency on their balance sheet. We're seeing actually things that are favoring Bitcoin and digital currencies, not against them. The governments probably have acted too late in order to go ahead and take out Bitcoin. They could have done it easily years ago, but Bitcoin wasn't a threat, and it's still not a threat. Bitcoin is not a threat to fiat. It's not a threat to the dollar or the digital yuan or the digital euro. They're all going to be there. Bitcoin is a $200 billion market. Now, of course, as it grows and it becomes a $1 trillion market and a $5 trillion market, and maybe once it overtakes the market cap of gold, at that point, it becomes a threat, but it's a little too late. So, digital dollar, though, different story. On the plane over, I did download a video. Man, it's a fantastic video. I want everyone to see it. It's not about whether Bitcoin is a threat or the digital dollar is a threat, but it is from, you guys know his name, is a great channel. His first name is George. If anyone knows the name of the channel, please go ahead and type it in. He does the whiteboards. I want to share the video. I won't be able to do it until I come back. It's a fantastic video. I have it over here on my phone. Who knows his name? I'll be able to look it up in 1 second for you. His name is George Gammon. He does the whiteboard videos. Fantastic. The name of the video, if anyone wants to write it down really quick, is Government Agenda for Digital Dollar Revealed. It is a fantastic video. Everybody should watch it. And I will go ahead and be reminding you all next week about it because it was such a good video, a great educator. Absolutely. I agree with it. Was really his first or second video that I watched. And I'm glad I had the time to sit, watch it on the plane like that. I loved it. It was good stuff. I recommend it to all of you. All right. So what else we got going on over here? We could see again on the dollar over here. By the way, I'm great to be here with y'all. Thumbs up, blasting to all of you. We're watching here on the dollar. We're watching to see if we break down over here, right? This trend line break of this channel that we're currently in. Everyone see the channel, right? And then a break of that horizontal support. If we break down, that should send the dollar. That should give us a lot of clarity. That would be also, by the way, again, you had the bounce off the positive retail news. If that's faded, that's a bearish event. That's really the only thing to worry about right now or look for on the dollar. What else? Andrew, that was Roman, Justin, Stefan. Thumbs up to all of them. Glad they hit that out over there. Let's look at Bitcoin before we get into the markets today. Let's do that because it's Friday. Bitcoin, this is Miguel said it earlier. This is a really nice, the consolidation pattern looks really solid on Bitcoin. Let me go ahead and get that in over there. Yeah, that's the name of the video. Government Agenda for the Digital Dollar Revealed. You need some time, because he really works through on step 1 and step 2 of the video. All of that's important for step 3. Like, you have to take the time and you have to pay attention. It's not something that you could be multitasking. You have to really focus in on it. It's good stuff. Highly recommend it. Boom, boom, boom. So is that for the UK? Is that for the UK? I'm not sure. Anyway, let me take a look at Bitcoin here with you. Miguel was saying this looks like a really nice consolidation. I agree. So a couple of things that I just want to walk you through, right? We all knew this was the breakout of the trend line that we were looking here for a bull leg to start on Bitcoin. Ultimately, in my opinion, taking out this high over here next. That's the trajectory that we seem to be going on. This other trend line was the confirmation. Both of those events happened, and then we started here on the live stream developing. Someone pointed out, hey, is that a bull flag, right? During that session, we broke out of that bull flag, and we didn't close on the daily above this resistance. We didn't close above the daily on that resistance. We came back down and we tested the breakout of that bull flag, the resistance, now support. And it's held as support, and we came up and we tested the upper resistance again, and we came back down and we tested the support. This is consolidation. Again, we came back up and tested that resistance again, and then we had the the exchange news. By the way, the most derivative volume in the world coming from OKDE exchange, OKDE, and boom, Bitcoin down 3%, and then still holding though and consolidating in this area. This sets you up really when you see consolidation like that, which is healthy. That's a healthy pattern coming off a leg up. The breakout over here, that's what you're looking for to send it. Again, I have the stop loss down over there, right? I don't know what is that, 10,960, right below that last sweep right there, that last little leg low below the outer resistance over there. And Bitcoin looks solid. Bitcoin looks good. Also follow back as support through September and October. Look at that. In August. Support, resistance should now be support, you know? Is that what you're looking at? What's my opinion on Peter Schiff's view on Bitcoin? My view on Peter Schiff's view on Bitcoin is that he's really salty that he missed it so early on, and Peter thinks that he has missed the price appreciation of Bitcoin. I believe that he uses Bitcoin as a marketing tool. That's my opinion on Peter Schiff. My opinion on Peter Schiff, by the way, is, man, going back a long time ago, right? Going back, I don't know, 14 years ago, 2007, around that time, I learned a lot from Peter Schiff. I really did, and I really give it to him for that. I learned a lot about Austrian economics. He's a great guy. He's right, but on a way too long term. I talk about some guys who get like a macro view, and then they go ahead and they just make a living sticking to that view. I think it's terrible. I think it's absolutely terrible. I think it's terrible that Peter, at the height of the bull market, as we entered the bear market in gold, 2012 area, that for 8 years he kept all his clients on the wrong side of the market. I think it's absolutely terrible. I think it's terrible. All right. Yeah, that's Moon Man's got it, and that's what I mean. Ultimately, Peter Schiff, if you listen to what he says, there's a lot of value there. There's a lot of good stuff, but you have to just understand what it is. He just sells gold professionally. Am I an Austrian? I'm an American. Am I from the School of Austrian Economics? I mean, how could you not be? All right. Before we get into the euro Australian dollar, we really need to get into the FX. The only gap to be mindful of the gap. Hey, New Yorkers, what's going on? Mind the gap. The only gap to be mindful of is the CME gap at 9,600. All right, let's see what's going on the S&P 500. This is a daily time frame all the way. I guess this is what I'm going to start looking at before I get into the comfort zone on the 8-hour. And I want you to see. Who's the other guy that I hear all the time? He was in that movie with Owen Wilson and Google. Vince Van or something like that. Vince Vaughn. So let's go. I just lost my line of flow. And by the way, it's been half hour into the session. It's been so far a good, fun session. I'm glad to be into it with you all today. All right, let's look over here on the daily time frame on the indexes over here. You can see like this looks like a bit of a hammer over here. I don't really. I spent so much wasted time early in my career focused on candlesticks, and again, at the end of the day, it was all just a waste of time, in my opinion. But here you are. You're looking at this nice little hammer pattern over here, which is a reversal pattern, right? More importantly, we came into that area of support, which has held, making the higher high into resistance. Let's take a look at it. I didn't like the S&P. Not that I didn't like it. I didn't like taking an entry over there, right? Yesterday on the update. And here we are over there. I did like it on the Nasdaq, but on the S&P I didn't. It's not just a question of taking all setups. It's discerning which is the best setup to trade. I saw a bunch of people, who was it? I forget the name right now. Left a comment on yesterday's afternoon video that I could see the growth. I could see them spotting setups on their own now, learning how to manage those trades. Really like to see that. All right, over here, Liam, man, don't be salty. Man, don't be salty, and don't pass up the biggest investment of your lifetime. So over here, what do we got over here? Look, I see resistance above, right? We get above that resistance next week. I think that at that point we might start looking to get back involved in the S&P. I don't see anything right now. Of course, we have that strong bullish bias over here right now. All of the price action is bullish on the indices. We're not looking for any type of reversal right now. But look, let's just say that it is a bullish bias, and we need to stand aside right now. What about the Nasdaq? All right, so Nasdaq, we saw this 2 long wicks over there. The sellers couldn't follow through. We saw this area of support holding. This is the trade over there, right? Over here, as we made the higher high, we said why the S&P didn't look good for an entry. Nasdaq did, and so far just resuming off of that. You got some resistance coming up above you, right? I think this is one of the trades that you have to protect. It's Friday. It's Friday. And what does that mean? Well, if you come into that resistance today, you got to just either be looking to take profit, not holding a position over the weekend. I wouldn't be worried about holding a position over the weekend. You could definitely get some gaps. But I think if you come into that resistance, I think the smart play is just looking to lock in that trade with a stop loss at break even. What about on the Dow? That's a great plan, Tom. That's a great plan. So Dow, by the way, does not look bullish. It looks a little bit with a bearish tint. I'm going to look at that right now. Could have had a short entry right over here this morning during London, right? Could have easily have had that short trade. I see it. I like it. What is going on over there? You can see we broke out of that trend line over here. That broken support should now be resistance. It is held as resistance, right? We came off. There's an entry signal right there. And I liked the idea here with the markets neutral, looking to lean into the short side on the weaker Dow, as well as going long on the stronger Nasdaq, right? And then over here, you could see now we're coming back up. If we get back into the channel here, then this is a failed breakdown. This is a failed breakdown. But right now, that's holding as resistance. The trade still could go either way. What else? Let's look at the Russell. There we go. So not much else to add to the conversation. Anyone in this trade off of the parabolic trend line? That was Wednesday's update, right? That one of the scenarios we gave for the Russell, as it was towards the end of that bull flag over there, was holding that line, resuming up, or coming in and touching this trend line and resuming up. That was the only thing that we gave that looked like good entries on Wednesday's afternoon update. So if you're in this trade now, what are you doing? Well, you came close to the resistance area, not hit it, but then made a lower low on the 8 hour. I think this is where you have to absolutely move your stop loss to break even. By the way, what's being shared here right now is relevant for any other trade you're in on any other instrument. This is TA across the board. But at this point, taking a little bit of profit, that makes complete sense. Having your stop loss at break even, just a little bit of profit. You want to push multiple levels. You're just into the first level, always into the first level. We manage the trade, but you're looking for a breakout. Let's look above here. We got a couple of bit of resistances above. This is the last swing high over here. And then if you zoom out a little bit, you can see where the all-time high is all the way up here. This is January, February. Just like the Nasdaq went on to new all-time highs, the S&P went on to new all-time highs. The Dow didn't, the Russell didn't. So ultimately right now, you're hoping to push this for a test of the all-time high. You don't make money taking profits too quickly. A lot of people take profits too quickly. If you know that's you, you know that's you. What does that mean? Have you ever heard, cut your losers short? Well, if you're taking profits too quickly, what are you doing? You're cutting your winners short. Understand that right there. That little piece of advice is something that I really wish I knew at the beginning of my career. That makes all the difference in the world. The success formula is to push your winners, to let your winners run while cutting your losers short. If you take profits too quickly, then you are cutting your winners short. When I say a little bit of profit, I'm either talking usually anywhere from 10% to 20%. Why do that? It helps psychologically. What does that mean? It helps psychologically. A lot of people have a lot of trouble. By the way, when you come in just to your first support or resistance level, we'll talk about it right here on the NASDAQ. Again, it's relevant no matter what you're talking about. Bitcoin sounds like a Ponzi scheme. I mean, Harry, I thought like I understood 5 years ago that there were certain people that said that, but it's a long time since anyone has called Bitcoin a Ponzi scheme. It's been many, many years. I think everyone has, that's like remember back on the internet 4 years ago when people would be like, "What's your source? What's your source?" I mean, that's ridiculous. What's your source? What are you listening to, like the propaganda channels? Come on. But is Bitcoin a Ponzi? I mean, do you think that Square, a public company, just invested $50 million into a Ponzi scam? Or do you think that maybe like MicroStrategy just invested $450 million into a Ponzi scam? Do you, do you think so? Yeah, I would definitely be more apt to call the public markets a Ponzi scheme run by the Federal Reserve. That's a Ponzi scheme. That's a Ponzi scheme all day long. But let's keep going. So back to what I was talking about over there when I was talking about why take a little bit. It's a great question. Why take a little bit of profit? Because it helps you're going to have a really good amount of trades that just came into the first resistance level when buying or the first support level when selling, which you never want to be trading from a 1-to-1 risk reward ratio. Never, ever, ever, right? That's not even a move. But if you go ahead and you move your stop loss to break even and you get stopped out, just psychologically that you took that little bit of a profit is easier for you. And it's a mental game. It's all a mental game. So it just helps, makes things a little bit easier for everyone or for you. Right. The legend, one of my favorite traders of all time, Paul Tudor Jones. And this guy is, what has he made? Like $7 billion in the currency markets. Legend of Wall Street. Do you think he invested 2% of his 3% of his fund into Bitcoin, into a Ponzi scheme? No. So let's go. Let's take a look at gold right now. But before we do, let me see what Bitcoin is doing. I don't think that Yeah. By the way, do you remember Amazon, Apple? Apple wasn't. Amazon definitely was called a scam, a Ponzi scheme. The whole internet thing, was that thing going to catch on? Right? You remember all that ridiculous? Anyway, here we are. So this is awesome analogy over here. Musical chairs, and there's less and less chairs. There's going to be less and less chairs and less and less chairs and less and less chairs, and no one is giving up their chair. In this game of musical chairs, when the music gets going, you don't have to stand up for your chair. Bitcoin is a scarce asset that you could hold on in self-custody. You don't have to get up. People aren't giving up their chairs. And the music, that's this current fiat system that we're in. That music is running out. That house of cards is going to fall. Make sure that you have some chairs when that music falls. All right. So, dollar, by the way, since the retail sales has just not gone anywhere. U.S. equity markets have been open. Yeah, basically Grayscale GBTC is basically an ETF with a premium involved. Bull flag on Ethereum. We'll check out that in 1 second. Let me check out gold and silver first. Not much has happened this morning ever since the retail sales. Here we go. Gold right now, everyone is aware of gold. It's almost boring as we're in this consolidation. It remains the same. We're consolidating. Everyone knows the area that we're in. If you didn't, just go watch last night's update. Same thing with silver, right? Silver, again, is also consolidating. Still having trouble with 2450, but that doesn't really matter. It's just between this trend lines. It's getting close to a big breakout. Both of them are getting close. Well, to a big break, I should say. I don't know if it's up or down. I definitely can't predict the future. Yeah, Eli, this is what we're doing. We're giving a bunch of updates all across the board right now. Let's check out Ethereum. Yeah, that's true. There's no question if the dollar breaks down out of that channel, that should help gold and silver for sure. What is this? What is going on over here? Let me clean up this chart over here. All right. That 390, that's where we need to break out above to get Ethereum really rolling over here. It all looks healthy, right? Is that a bull flag? I don't think it, I mean, I don't think it's a bull flag. Or what is that text? Sorry guys, I'm working from a laptop over here right now. It's just not as easy, but here we go. Is that a bull flag? I mean, look at my voice. It's a beautiful look. This was the important break of this trend line over there. That trend line was the beautiful break, right? And then since now we came into that important resistance at 390. And if you want to call this a bull flag, a channel, or a consolidation pattern, it's just one, it's all the same thing. It's all extremely bullish. But more importantly, we're coming back into that beautiful support over there at 360, right? 360 holding. And then us, and by the way, a good place to buy on a resumption over here on Ethereum. An excellent place to buy on if this holds and we resume off making a higher high. Once we get above 390, and I say once because there is, once we get above 390, I think that's when we soon afterwards we'll be testing that 500 resistance. Ethereum is getting ready here to put up a move. Do I think so? In my opinion, so listen, it's really simple. And again, one of the most important things, again, the markets are extraordinarily difficult. The markets are extraordinarily complex. One of the greatest edges you could have is simplifying things down. Now, I'm going to make this really simple. The markets here, they trade off liquidity, right? Right now, are we seeing when look, after the 2008 crisis, when the Fed injected a ton of money, we had for 12 years a huge move over there, right? It was in about 2017 when they started withdrawing liquidity from the market, right? They called it quantitative tightening. And as they were withdrawing the money supply, what happened? We had, starting in September of 2019, we started seeing the market breaking. What does that mean? We started seeing a shortage of dollars. We started seeing the Fed inject billions of I sent a WhatsApp message to my whole family, letting them know in September, as that first started happening, that look, things are breaking again. And the Fed was supposed to stop by the end of the year, that liquidity injection, because they broke the market. Paul Tudor Jones, by the way, when the Fed tightened in December of 2018, he just said they made a mistake by raising rates right there. They just made a mistake. They're going to have to, from here on in, only lower rates and ease. He nailed it. The guy who thinks that Bitcoin's a Ponzi, he nailed it perfectly, right? And then what did he do since then? He took 3% of his fund and invested into Bitcoin. Boom. So what happened over there when the Fed when the Fed started withdrawing liquidity? They broke the market. It started in September, and they started injecting billions of dollars a day. They said by the end of the year, they'll be able to withdraw it. At the end of the year, the system was still broke. They could not stop the repo action. January, February, right? And then what happened? This virus magically appears. Is it the virus that broke the system? No. Was it the Fed? Did the virus pop it? Yeah. Or the forced lockdowns, right? But the system was broken. That's why the Fed started the repo action in September. It's because they were tightening, right? Is that happening right now? No, none of that is happening right now. There is no dollar liquidity crisis. The Fed is not tightening right now. The Fed is easing. The Fed went in so big because they understood the magnitude of the problem. I think it will be a long time. I said it since March, since the end of March when the Fed acted. I don't think we're going to have another dollar liquidity crisis for a long time. Now, I pulled a number out of the air. I said 6 years, or it could be 6 years, and that's true. Could it also be 2023, 2024 as Fed coin is ready? Yep, it could be. But is it happening today? Is it happening tomorrow? Is it happening after the election? I don't think so. Is it possible that we run into some type of crisis in a few weeks when election night, President Trump wins in a landslide and then the other side doesn't concede, and then we start seeing riots in the street, and then we start seeing like these mail-in ballots being contested, and then like a bunch of trouble, and then the greatest experiment of democracy in the world all of a sudden doesn't have a smooth transition of power? Yeah, that could be a problem for the markets. The markets won't like that. If I were to had to guess what don't listen to me. What kind of, let's just zoom out 1 second over here. I'm doing it on the 8-hour. Let me come to the daily time frame for you. Look, if we lose this area over here, I don't think we're going to see 3,200. Where's 3,200? Yeah. If we lose 3,200, that could get ugly. That could definitely get ugly. Do I think that we're going to test or lose that? Well, I don't know. How about this? I don't think, I've said it starting a couple of weeks ago, I think the greatest risk to the market here is that election night is a non-event. And by the way, let's just like play this out in our head for a second, because everyone is expecting the end of the world. What was it again? Y2K? Everyone's expecting Y2K in a few weeks. What was Y2K? A non-event, right? Was everyone expecting it? Yep. What happens if we have a non-event? What happens if Brexit is a non-event? What happens if the U.S. election is a non-event? We're talking about the third week of November. Pfizer is getting ready, asking for emergency approval of a vaccine. We have a vaccine hitting the market. Are you going to take that vaccine? I'm not. But we have a vaccine hit the market, right? What all these major risks, and I've said it before, what do bull markets do? They climb a wall of worry, and then all of a sudden, all these huge risk events are outside of the market now. What are we looking at? We're looking at growth. We're looking at improvement. We're looking at that stimulus, or some stimulus being passed. A lot of people are short the market right now. So I think that the risk right now is more on the upside than it is on the downside. But regardless of all of that, we're just following what's happening. Because if you remember going back before we broke out of this wedge, we were ready. We started playing both sides of the market. That was a few days. We were ready to play. If the downside happens, we will be there. We will be selling. We will be attacking. But we broke out to the upside, and we're bullish now, and we're just going to follow what the charts are showing. If you get yourself caught up in trying to trade around an event, that's you're getting yourself into hope mode. Yeah, I think there's a high probability. It's not just me, Sean, right? You had the Democrats. When I say the Democrats, you had. What you had? You had Hillary Clinton's campaign manager, Posada, playing Biden in the war games. And they're war gaming this scenario that Trump wins in a landslide, and then that Biden will not concede the election. And then what happens next? What do they do? How they challenge it in the courts? Do they involve? Does the military get involved? It's not me who's worried about Trump winning in a landslide. It's the other side, and you know, is that going to happen? Yeah, election night. What also happened? Twitter. Jack Dorsey, by the way, subpoenaed, will be testifying before the Senate. Nothing's going to happen, but you're seeing an enormous interference here. Twitter and Facebook, Zuckerberg and Dorsey have both said they will not allow a candidate, or in other words, they will not allow Trump to claim victory election night on their platforms. If you don't see that, what we're headed for is a landslide victory. I listen, if you're following the polls. All right, let's go. What else we got going over there? You think we'll see? How did you do on 2016? I nailed it. We'll see. So, but be prepared. Be prepared. The vaccine. What a weird Friday. Here we are. What do we think that the vaccine will boost the market? No one will take it. We shall see. Well, there will be a good amount of people that will take it, whether it's 50 or 60% of people that definitely will be looking to take that. And then you have, or let's call it 50-50. 50% of the people will never take that, and 50% of the people will be running to take that. So I'm just trying to set everyone up from an investment standpoint of what they should be looking at and what is happening. Everyone could definitely have their own wants and desires, but don't confuse what you want to happen with what is happening. And just want everyone to be prepared, right? Obviously, the whole nation is split 50-50 about what they want. It's not politics. That's the market, Peter. We need to be able to talk about the market over there, right? So that's that. What else? I'm gonna take a sip of coffee, get going over here. George Gammon. Great stuff. Great educator. I liked it. It was the digital currency, a government agenda. All right, let's be grown-ups though right now. Let's transition on from, the stuff we needed to talk about and the good question that was important, but let's transition over from regardless of whatever people think about that and move over to the markets. Everyone, I won't call it names, but everyone, if you're still tweeting about, commenting about either a vaccine or Trump or Biden, let's just at this point move over. Yeah, let's go back to the euro Australian dollar. So this is interesting. Thanks for bringing this up, by the way. But why is it interesting? You could see that we're coming into we're testing the resistance here of this channel that's been going on for months, and we've been talking about that a breakout over here could lead to a really big move. Now I don't the euro is slightly bid today. I need to look at the euro, but this is very interesting, and I'm going to come back down to the 8 hour. I'm on the daily time frame. It's probably a good place that we looked at this right now. Sven, Selvin, you're new here. Welcome. You just stepped upon probably one of the best opportunities of your lifetime. Probably the best thing you can do is either go back and watch just a few of those videos that will let you know in a nutshell, right? I had a professional trader yesterday tweet me, watched, I guess it was Wednesday's live stream, and he's like, wow, I'm so glad I found you. But you need to just have that open position of learning. All right. Euro, Australian dollar. You can see over here that we are in this channel over here. This is going back all the way to June. This is a base, right? The bigger the base, the more of the move. And this could go to the upside or downside. That's why I have this little arrow going down and this one going up. We're challenging the resistance now. We haven't broken out. We don't take the breakout. If we get a clean breakout over here, we could shoot up pretty high. There's no resistance right above us. That's anything that's right before us, but I don't. It's not an entry here this morning. Nah, I'm gonna wait for a clean breakout. If we go ahead and flip that big long base into support, that could be setting up a beautiful, beautiful trade next week. I don't want to miss it. We're gonna purple heart that thing, and we'll be looking for that. So great, great, great suggestion over there. Kips's all important reminder. He talks about it often, and it's really, really a gem. Pay attention to the markets that fall despite the weak dollar. Interesting. Thank you, Sean. Thank you, Sean. I took that one to the heart. Thank you, Sean, very much for sharing that with me. And that's what we spent the beginning of this, the whole beginning of this live stream talking about, Eugene. Go ahead and rewatch that. Let's check out the a couple of things we need to check out. Someone asked for the Swiss franc, Japanese yen. We're going to start there, and then we're going to check out all of these pairs, get a really good feel for what's going on. Look, we're just going to follow the charts over there. We've pushed that through. Look, you can either listen to the polls or not. That's up to you. You know, Swiss franc, Japanese yen, big breakout of this ascending wedge over there, bearish event. And then since, right, you're seeing what looks, watch it. So, by the way, this is consolidation. After this is bearish. This is bearish. We've broken down. Hold on. It's bearish because we broke down outside of this ascending wedge. Since breaking down, we're consolidating over here. Is there any edge right now? No, right? So there's no edge here right now. These guys are fighting it out neutral with a bearish tint. That's all to say about the Swiss franc, Japanese yen. Euro, Swiss franc, let's take a look. So this is, so by the way, talk about consolidation. Breakdown out of that range, retesting that breakout. If it resumes down over there, is that a trade to take? I think so. That's also a really nice setup developing over here. But it is Friday. Definitely as New York comes to work on Friday, I never take new trades on FX. So this is something be looking forward to set up early next week. The next time that I will trade would be Monday into London. Daddy, Aussie dollar week all around, bad numbers yesterday. DXY, Chris, we spent the whole beginning of this session looking at the DXY. Go back and resume and look at that over there for you. So talking about what, so by the way, this election, I think the most important thing is who wins the Senate. Who wins the Senate? If picking sides, since 1950, the market's gained 3.5% under Republican administrations and 12% during Democratic administrations. We got the top of the hour, 1 minute Michigan sentiment coming out. Thank you for that. Let's see how the markets react off that. That, by the way, is a data event that often does turn the markets. That's a data event that could often turn the markets. I don't know how much right now that matters, being what's going on here on a bigger scale. Liam, that's irrelevant to this channel. Yeah, that's completely. And Xavier, that's also irrelevant. Let's move on from that. You need to be able to be adults. I'm going through it looking for people looking for FX, Australian dollar, Swiss franc. Let's check it out. Let me start here on the daily, by the way. Just 1 second. So again, wow, across the board, we're seeing a breakdown in Australian dollar pairs from massive levels. You could see this big consolidation level. That was big support level that we just broke over there on the Australian dollar, Swiss franc. I see the Swiss franc even against the euro, also bid today. Are we seeing possible? What's going on with the Japanese yen pairs? Japanese yen's weak today. Weird, right? Because I was wondering if we're seeing that bid into the safe haven with the election coming up on the Swiss franc. So I'm gonna, because the Japanese yen is not following suit, I'm not really gonna focus in on that. And I'm trying to see right now also on the daily. It's not clear, right? I see the big breakdown of this important level. You can see over there, I should move up this support line over there right now because this is support right here, right? I'm going to focus right there. And I see also this, though. This looks like a bit of a channel, a flag right there. So I don't like it for any type of trade right here, right now. And also from June to where we are today, it is also one big consolidation range. Now, a breakdown of here, of this support down over there, that might then say, all right, now we've lost some important support, and then we want to be looking to attack to the downside. Would I be looking to buy over here then, right? Because bottom in the March low over there, Fed acted. We're coming down now into a support. It also looks like support from this channel, that broad stroke channel that I'm putting over there. But also, more importantly, that horizontal support, a resumption off of here. Is that a place to get long? Maybe. That's just how I see it. I don't know that I love it. There you go, Harry. Good to hear that. So as I keep going down before, because I probably didn't get a chance to see, but last warning on that, Xavier. That's not going on right here in this chat. Man, biggest return ever on a single trade. Not on a single trade. Not on a single trade. Well, I'm going to answer this question in two ways. Biggest return during the course of the year, which I did not maintain, was 8,500%. That was after. Oh, sorry about that. Are we still live here? That was after the Bank of Japan went on that easing coordinated central bank intervention. Biggest. How about this? During the 2008 crisis, short the pound yen, my lowest position, entering the trade in three different orders. The lowest small piece over there of that trade went on to over 100% return. So, figure it like this: I was risking a 0.5%. That 0.5% was divided up to three trades, and the smallest piece of those three orders had over 100% return running afterwards. Amazing. New Zealand dollar, euro. Let's check it out over here. I have to pull that one up. That's not on my list. Liam also, man, no more of that stuff. You got to let it go. Otherwise, man, we don't play admin in here. Rarely that we have to hide someone, but got to let that go. All right. So New Zealand dollar, euro, I just see like very clearly this is as clear as day for me, and I hope it is for you also. You could see like gold and silver are in that consolidation pattern over there. Now, I'm not comparing this to gold and silver, only the fact that they're consolidating within that triangle. This is as clear as day. You are right now consolidating over there, right? And at this point, when you're this far in, because as the closer you get here, you're coming to some type of resolution. That resolution could be to the upside or it could be to the downside, but you wait for that break at this point. There's no edge being in the middle of that, being in no man's land. Sam, if you are trading Bitcoin on leverage, so what does a 2x position have? It has. Does anyone know what your stop loss is? I'm imagining your stop loss is somewhere, or when you would be margined out, is somewhere around 5,500. Does that seem safe to be? 100%. However, what I would be doing is for two things. If we break some important levels like 8,800, I would lighten up on that position so that you could get back in further lower. I don't think that happens, but it could happen. Anything could happen in the markets. If you haven't learned that in 2020, that was the biggest lesson you could have learned. Oil, right? Its June contract was trading negative $47. Anything could happen in the market. Oil went to zero. Look, the other thing that instead of be looking to exit in spring of 2022, I highly suggest continuing to watch this channel as we get, and not saying follow it, but when I'm exiting Bitcoin and I'm going to give the reasons why, and again, I'm no Peter Schiff, as things turn bearish on Bitcoin, as much as I love it, I'm going to be the biggest bear out there. Thank you, Samuel. I appreciate that. That's yes. So the reverse is true. Kips is giving that golden wisdom. When the dollar is strong, look for what pair is holding up the strongest, because if the dollar weakens, that should really shoot up whatever instrument that is. So he's saying the reverse is true, and that's exactly. I mean, that's great wisdom right there. That's great insight into the markets. I don't know anything about that. I don't know anything about that. Yes, Rob, totally. And that will be through until Wednesday morning. That will be the case. Until Wednesday morning, that will be the case, Rob. Working remotely right now. So this is a laptop, and every time I'm on the laptop, people say the resolution is much better than when I'm on the desktop. The desk is a new Mac, so I don't know about that or why. I've tried to make the resolution bigger when I live stream in the morning on the desktop. Pay attention to markets that fall on a weak dollar and rise on a strong dollar. It's an edge I use, and it's a good one. I highly highlight that. How low for the DXY? Look, it's not a question of how low. It's only a question of, let's look at a couple of things over there. Danny will get right into the Euro Canadian dollar next. Look, if we come ahead, right? I've said if we fall back and break this area of support, this trend line, because right now, if we break this, we looked at it this morning. Let me zoom in for you really quick. If we break down out of this trend line over here, if we break down, right, that could send us towards this low and testing into this trend line. If we break this trend line, then we're testing. And if we break the yearly low on gold, on DXY, how low could we go? We have a couple of supports below there. I'll come to the 3-day. I guess that will show them in. The next stop, if we break the yearly low, is 90.84. You can see over there that little bit of resistance, where it could be as far as 90.43. But in that area over there, and then below that, we have 88.40. Are those realistic expectations or targets? I think so. We're not going to look lower until we come in and test either one of those, right? But that's two big support levels below. And, right now we're just focused on the yearly low. So Euro, Canadian dollar, let's take a look. Euro, Canadian dollar, right? What do you see when you first start looking off of it? I mean, strong support held, and now are you coming back into resistance? Yes. Right? Is this where you're looking to step in and short? So it's weird, right? You could have been going long off of this support over here, but now this is also in a downtrend, and you're coming into some area of resistance. Let me go ahead and make sure that resistance is in there for everyone. I have it a little bit higher, kind of in no man's land. True trend resuming down. I mean, from my point of view, I could see someone going long off of that support. I would be short focused over here, and I would be focused to the short side over here personally. And why this isn't a big, you're not into a big resistance right now. A resumption down over here. Could I see anyone being short here this morning in London? Yeah, I could. I could. So it's not clean, Danny, but it's there. Yeah, Australian dollar, Japanese yen. Could we go down a little more? Look at this. I mean, but this was the trade that we pointed out. I don't know if it was Tuesday or Wednesday in the live stream. Entry happening during the New York session over here, right? This was the trade of the week, in my opinion. And now, what could this go further? You could see that we're consolidating, right? Are we consolidating like that, or are we consolidating like this? I'm not really sure. But either which way, of course, we can make another leg down. Of course. And again, you should be looking to push trades. Matthew, right now that's like silver's on the back burner and it's not until 26. Let's see if that's changed, right? So again, so it's been 26. Silver needs to prove itself before I'd be looking to go long. But the further that this consolidation goes on, right? Like let's say if we don't break out this trend line until next week, right? Let's say it's towards the end of October. Hey, maybe it's right before the election as you see maybe gold start breaking out as a flight to safety before the election. Would that be abnormal? No. Right? Could that happen? Yes. Should you take a position now before it's shown to you that's happening? Absolutely not. Never. Right? So, but what I'm getting at is the more time this goes on before breaking out, if you then break out, you know, if you break out lower here, then at that point I would be entering before 26, right? If we broke out of this trend line towards the end of October, that would be the time to play silver to the long side. Right now, over here, it's still 26, but it looks like we're not going to get a breakout, right? And then it just remains this trend line. It's this trend line right now, and the lower we come down over here, then the more apt I am to take the break rather than waiting for the 26 confirmation. Dow recaptured the channel. And equities look very bullish today. But don't forget, look at that. That looks good. Definitely recaptured the channel over there right now. Definitely also looking for the close into it today on the daily. And Russell's unchanged on the day. Nasdaq is pumping. Don't forget, if you do come into that resistance, you got to protect that trade going into the weekend. Serbia responding to that question we had over there. The consumer getting confident, huh? Catching up on comments. We already looked at that. Mexican peso, US dollar. Let's check it out over here. So interesting, right? Why did I say interesting? You're into this little bit of local support over there. Right over there, you could see that was resistance and then became support, and we're into that area right now. So what do, right? Well, if you sold the resistance, you're now tightening it up, that protecting that trade. But there's no trade here. You can't sell into support, and you're into support right now. And should you be buying right now in this downtrend? I mean, I don't think so. Is that, let's see if yeah, there's not much else to add on the peso here. Yeah, 8 hour. The 8 hour is the time frame. I never go lower than the 8 hour time frame. You'll see if you get off those lower time frames, you're gonna see your profitability increase drastically. Get off those low time frames. It's not true. You don't make more money trading off of low time frames. You make more money trading off of higher time frames. Now the daily is too big. I never trade off the daily time frame. JR, thank you, brother. Appreciate that. And just by the way, just let me let me just like put my arms around you all and just like touch base for 1 second. Good job on being able to transfer away from a sensitive topic to everyone or most everyone. There's no question about it. It's a sensitive topic with the elections coming up. Really, really good job being able to have to talk about something difficult as we're getting close, whether you like what is happening or not, but good job being able to then transfer away from it and go into the markets, listen over the next couple of weeks, and maybe not only in the next couple of weeks, who knows how long this is going to go on. you know the one thing that we can't do is ever like in this we could talk about things, but we can't like whether myself and you in the comments, you could not be like posturing one way against other people. Like, it's just not necessary. And I just want to thank you all really from showing that maturity and moving on and being able to get back into the markets, right? So thank you. Jesse, Canadian dollar, Japanese yen. Shane, awesome. Thanks for being here. I'm having a fun one. I didn't expect it to go on this long here, but it's definitely very important and good one. Canadian dollar, Japanese yen. What do we see, Jesse? I mean, if I clone this line over there, I could see that is providing a little bit of support over there, right? Let me do that. Let me just get this. What I see visually, let me put on the chart as well. Right? You see that? That's pretty clear. Probably a mistake when we did this during the training session. Let me go to the 8 hour first of all. Right? When I talked about this entry off of here, off this trend line long, and where to place the stop loss. And I said that in this case, I would be using a tight stop loss, even though if you looked at the last entry CCI, the last time it went negative, and over there you put the stop loss over there. For me, it was too far away that I wanted to go with a tighter stop loss in this case. Notice what happens if you went for this one over here. You're still protected from that trend line. Are you buying off of this trend line over here? It's a buy. It's definitely a buy signal over here today. Now, you're coming into an area of resistance overhead right now. No question about it. Right? How big is this line of resistance? I'm trying to see that right over there, what's above us. It's there. There's a lot of wicks over here, so it's lighter, but you're also coming into an area of resistance right over there. That would not dissuade me from taking the trade, but I'm going to make it a little bit lighter, right? I'm going to make it a little bit lighter. Boom. It's there. It's light. There's a lot of wicks over there. So this is the big one. This is the one that if you were buying, I would be using to go ahead and then tighten up the trade. The brighter one up over here coming in at $80, the whole number. And also over here, I have to tell you, if we break this trend line to the downside, and you will see also the true trend, not that you should trade it off the true trend, but the true trend will be going negative at that same time. That also sets up a sell now. After, again, this was the outer resistance over here, right? It held. That was a time to take an opportunity to go long. You should have been stopped out with a tighter stop loss, but now you're coming back into the lower channel over here. It's holding as support. It's a long entry all day long. But if you break down over here, it sets up a short as well. Canadian dollar, Japanese yen, largely in play. Nice one, Jesse. That's a great growth mindset, by the way, doctor. That's a great growth mindset over there, right? And there you go. Thanks, Kips, for sharing. Jordan, for your 8 hour bars, what is starting time on one of your bars? That's a fine, Eugene. I use the IDC. This is the parent exchange of the New York Stock Exchange, the parent company of the New York Stock Exchange, ICE. Now, it doesn't matter what you use, whether you're using FXCM, whether you're using Oanda. it doesn't matter what broker you're using, and different brokers have different starting times from their chart. We're trading off of support and resistance. It does not matter what broker you're using, what time your bars start and end on. If you want to use the same ones that I use when you're pulling up a pair, when you're looking at, for example, the British pound, New Zealand dollar, you know, you could see like I could use FXEM, Oanda, Forex.com, IDC, Saxo. I use IDC. If you want to have the same ones that I'm using, then you could also use IDC. There's no edge that I know of. So I would tell you, you should use the, IDC if I thought it was an edge. It doesn't matter. Yep, and probably on a delay from reading this one too, Liam. But again, I do say thank you for being able to get away from that, and I really mean that. So again, I'm on a delay. I want to make sure I get all of these my. But by the way, this was going back to biggest gain, biggest loss. I have blown many accounts, biggest and that's when that's when I learned again. So by the way, that year when I was going for that 8,500, when I had that gain, I was trying to break Larry Williams' all-time record, right? It was 11,000 something gain for a year. And I was trying to break his record. In retrospect, it was just completely silly. I mean, again, this is 8 years ago. It was completely silly to be trying to do that. I mean, yeah, that's great that the capacity's there. I was in the game, but that's not the way to do it. That's not the way to do it, and that's not the way to do that. Yeah, Heath, this is great. Talking about people adding wisdom, experienced traders adding wisdom. Heath, right here, listen to him, is saying that the Swiss franc tends to chop. And notice those big ranges we're seeing in the euro, Swiss franc, better opportunities on other pairs. And you guys who have been following me for a while know that I stay away normally from the Swiss franc, unless, of course, going back towards late February, I loaded up on the Swiss franc against the Australian dollar, New Zealand dollar. Some of my biggest trades all year, and 2020 has been a great year, abnormal year. Also with the Japanese yen, though, at that point, unless you are in that type of crisis situation, it's really important. This is really some good wisdom here from Heath. There are better opportunities on other pairs. I like that. Dan is asking, would I be for long-term 401k type investing be a good idea on which time frame? Thank you. So Dan, try pulling up um, try pulling up either one of two things on the daily time frame. You could pull up the true trend BTC, right? You can find that. Just go to indicators, search. I'll show you what right now. True trend. You could use the true trend BTC, or you could just use the normal true trend on the 3-day time frame. That was pointed out to me, by the way, during a live stream by someone. So let me go ahead and do that right now. Let me just pull up, like, for example, should we pull up Tesla or should we show Square? We'll look at them both. Here's the true trend on Tesla, right? Pulling up. Look, long-term investor trading the public markets over there. Look, and by the way, if you go to on the channel, the Bitcoin playlist, if you look at the beginner strategy for Bitcoin, which is not a beginner strategy, I actually think it's one of the best long-term accumulation strategies there is on Bitcoin for the most advanced trader there is, or easy enough that my mom could follow it, right? And that's also too, you could do that same thing. That strategy, I believe, answers your question the best, Dan. All right, I'm gonna do this right here on the 3-day though. On the using the normal true trend. And you can see over here, if you're following the true trend here, is going to keep you on the right side of some big moves. Look at Square. Let me zoom in a little bit. I'm trying to get a bigger move. Look at that. So when I'm going to show you like clear as day, by the way, getting yourself long over here, whatever that is. But I got a lag in my chart. Just give me 1 second. I want to go over this with you. Let this chart catch up to me. All right. Right. Would have got you long somewhere down over here in 2016. Who cares what the price is? I don't know what that is. $15, right? Get you out of the trade here. This is long term, right? Over here for this whole area, when price is sideways for 1 year, what does that do? You have a bunch of trades. You have probably 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 different, 7 or 8 different trades in 1 year period. It's a lot of trades, but it kept you more or less as break even as possible during that chop. Got you long again for the huge explosion move. Do I think that there's a better way? Well, whether you're using the 3-day with the normal true trend, or if you're using, for the little more active trader, the 12-hour, using the true trend BTC, those are what to do. All right, in my opinion. Whew. Australian dollar, Japanese yen coming into support. Let's check that out. Let's make sure that everyone has a good read on that. By the way, it is easier. You see me often just using the 8-hour to add in support and resistance. It is easier using the daily time frame. So look, this is where my eye is drawn to right there. These touches over there. Just follow the line over there. Do you see the touch then right there? Right? Another touch right there. I mean, as always, Heath is right on the money. Where were we? There we go. And then I'm going to zoom into the 8-hour to see it. I see the internet is kind of getting a little laggy over here this morning. It's an hour and a half into the session. So there it is. So by the way, also, right? By the way, a breakdown over there, right? That could lead to definitely testing that low and the leg lower. I would still be pushing that trade if you're into that trade. Into this area of support, though, taking that piece off with 20% or whatever it is. So, Jacob, happy birthday. I was going to go ahead and cue the music. Glad I saw that. Happy birthday. I hope you have a beautiful day. I really do. Thanks for being over there. All right, we're going to go ahead and just kick this off over here. I wish you all awesome happy Friday. Dave, blessed birthday tomorrow. And you guys are just, we got the veterans unloading wisdom. The more we guess, the more we lose. Make sure you have a strategy and an edge. Yeah, gold's consolidating. Watch yesterday afternoon's update. That's right, Alex. More wisdom being imparted. It's all about risk management. I agree, Johnny. I agree. Yes, I use TradingView. definitely some light support over there. A little bit of profit taking over the last session of Monero. Monero will be back. Al, thank you, brother. Just use the IDC charts. Yes, it does at 9 a.m. Oh, you know, and Kips, you know what? You know what they refer to as the corn these days? Trading the corn is trading the Bitcoin. Yeah, Jen, it's true, Zen, and thank you for that maturity. You know, thank you. Right, we do need to talk about, and we're 2 weeks away from a major risk event to the markets. Thank you, all of you, for that awesome maturity today. Thank you, Alfonso. Thank you for being here, everybody. Yeah, well, I get it. I get it. You know? Kips nickel guitar. Kips, Jesse, everyone, have a beautiful weekend. Thanks for this session. I'll see you all Monday morning. Have a beautiful weekend, everyone. Look, Duarte, that's because the resolution of the video, if you select the stream in HD, you'll get a good picture when you're on the desktop. So yeah, Duarte on the, I don't know, when I try to go to a higher level of the stream, I'm on a Mac, first of all. You know, Windows has many more options for streaming than a Mac. Mac has limited software. I use a program called Ecamm Live. And when I try using the harder bit rates and resolution, it just doesn't go. Anyway, I hope we're all good. Right? Alan, I'm away from the matcha today. Yeah, try Kraken, Nicholas. Kraken offers 3x BTC as well as does in some states Coinbase Pro. Yeah. Of course we could look at nickel. Martin, absolutely. So nickel, we're going to look at the 3-day. This is a long-term trade over here, right? So again, since we've come back into the support, we're now coming up testing this area of resistance, not where you want to initiate a position on nickel, right? Uptrend and long-term uptrend, buy off supports. You got to have that patience. Now, if you break above this resistance here, then confirm that that's a safer place to get long. But right here, right now, no, you're coming into resistance. You don't want to be a buyer long term. It's super healthy. All right, everyone. Have a great weekend. And that's it. I'll talk to you soon.